Bunnie Xo.
She was a Vegas girl.
Bunnie Xo.
Dumb Blonde Podcast. And Bunnie Xo. Kelly Roll's wife, Bunnie Xo. Miss Bunnie.
Is this thing on? What's up, babies? Welcome to another episode of Dumb Blonde. Today, I have the boys on the couch, Brothers Osborne, the brothers who have rocked country music, redefined brotherhood, and proved that being different might just be your greatest hit. Welcome, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you. I worked hard on that.
That made me feel good.
Good. I love you guys. My husband loves you guys.
Well, we love you guys.
mutual.
Honestly, I feel like, his career's just like taken off to the stratosphere, but in such short period of time. But I love that I've gotten to know you guys just a little bit before that happened. You guys haven't changed at all. It's amazing.
We appreciate you guys. And I have always been obsessed with you because of how you dress. It's so cowboy couture. And I'm just like, it's so like tailored and just perfect. Every time I see you, I'm like, this outfit is amazing.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you.
Well, I mean, where does the sense of style come from? Like, is it something that you obsess about?
I think it's a multiple things. One, it's probably the fact that I'm a gay man.
Well,
They're in there somewhere. Some certainly doesn't hurt.
Right.
And then, we have stylists that help with this stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, Abby is very stylish. So, that's always like the last, every time I got dressed for the awards, I'm like, this jacket.
Yeah, no, it's always, it's amazing. Top tier always.
So even when I was a kid, I kind of loved like wearing oddly, before I even had any clue what my sexuality was, when I look back now, I'm like, oh my God, you were so gay. Like I would wear like striped shirt, like a TGI Fridays red and white striped shirt with like a bow tie when I was like 8.
That's hot though.
Yeah, his choice.
I love that.
I would show up like got my hair all combed, super neat.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, have you seen Righteous Gemstones?
Yeah, of course. I just watched the finale last night.
Okay, so the latest
Yes.
season when there's the what's his character when he's the little boy?
Yes.
That was basically me as a kid.
No, I think that's
Totally.
phenomenal because fashion. I love fashion. So even as a kid, like I wore a red plaid skirt and an I Rode the Bull at Gillies t-shirt all the time, and you couldn't tell me any different. But even when I think back to it now, like I wear like band tees and like plaid skirts still, and it's like sometimes it's something you're just born with too.
I know, isn't that weird? Well, like John's kids, he's got twins.
The twins, yeah.
And to watch just one just be a boy and the girl, she just naturally, like, she couldn't even speak yet, and she showed up. I don't know if it was to Christmas or something or Thanksgiving, and she has this. She's a year and a half, and she's like, check this out. Like she's like,
She's trying to see it. She does like a turn and she's looking at it.
she's like, check this badass
She's got
thing
Uncle
out. Yeah.
TJ's fashion sense.
Yeah.
I love that.
My
So
son's
it's like
just covered in dirt and his own gunk. He's got my fashion sense.
all boy.
Yeah.
I love that. So you said you had a story to tell me that I was.
Yeah. So this is probably a year and a half
This is
ago.
on the record.
This is on the record.
It's on the
this
record,
is a
baby.
year and a half ago. It was not long after we had kids. And my wife gets hit up from her management. She's an artist as well, amazing singer-songwriter. And saying, yeah, you got asked to do your podcast.
Right.
And she was like, okay, yeah, I'm not sure why. I don't really have any music out, but we've talked about like fertility stuff and kids. And she's like, maybe she wants to go into that or whatever. Turned out it was a scam.
Oh no.
Yes. And it was basically someone said, well, you have to sign on, but you have to give us like log into your computer so we can access it from afar. And Lucy signed on and then got kind of freaked out and was like, this doesn't seem right, and then closed the tab. Fortunately, they didn't like go in and get all of our information, but they were seconds away from it, and she thought she was doing your podcast. Isn't that sad? I told you it was a little bit tragic. I know.
I hate that. People, the scam is just getting so out of control.
It
But
is.
that's so specific. Not only like I get if you're sending like I'm a prince from Africa and you send out
Right.
10 million.
Remember the Nigerian
The
scams
Nigerian
that were
print
huge?
scams? Yeah. But this is so specific, targeted at people where they would go. They probably know that we know you guys at least to some degree. Yeah, and I was kind
I
of
hate that.
I know I was a little pissed, but also kind of impressed about the move, the scam.
No, the way that they can even access people is just it's really
I
scary.
know.
Yeah,
Someone was actually
yeah.
texting our mom pretending to be me. But the thing, I was in the room with my mom. She's like, is that you? And I'm like, what me? He's like, are you texting me? I'm like, why? Why would I text you?
Why
You're
is it
right next
old
to me.
people always fall for it?
I know. Well, that's the
Yeah.
saddest part.
That's
They're
their-
often victims of that stuff, which honestly, I feel like I'm pretty savvy, and there's still all the time. I'm like, is this UPS?
Yeah.
Or is this
Well,
like,
Lucy was really upset. She was like, I feel like such an idiot. But I'm like, look, but it came through your management. It wasn't like she got an email somewhere after visiting a sketchy ass website.
But I get emails from John all the time. It's like, check out these pictures. And I'm like, my brother would never send me a picture.
He doesn't open any of my pics.
What the hell? Look at these pictures.
Man.
I'm like,
somebody would be trying to get a hold of those for
Yeah,
sure.
what if it really was somewhere?
it really was him the whole time.
He just wanted to see if you responded or not. Well, tell Lucy that I'm so sorry and that
okay.
we will have to revisit that for sure now that I know that she's even willing to do that. You know?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell her that. It'll make her whole world.
And I actually wanted to talk about you guys' IVF journey too on the podcast, which we'll get into it later.
Sure.
I want to kind of paint a picture for my viewers at home who don't know you guys, kind of like, your rise to fame. So if we could start, where you guys grew up and go from there. Tell me a little bit about your childhood and what inspired you guys.
It's an interesting thing because, for those who don't know, we're East Coast boys. We grew up in a little tiny water community called Deal, Maryland. And to a lot of people that do know that, they're always so surprised to hear that. They're like, how do you get into country music being from there? And we shot our music video for a song, one of our first singles called Rum in our hometown to kind of give people a bit of a look-see into where we grew up because it makes total sense when you see it. And on the new music that we're working on, we've kind of are going back to visiting that again where we're having we'll go back and shoot videos and stuff back there in the hometown. But yeah, it's a very blue-collar town. It's paradise. We grew up on the Chesapeake Bay.
How beautiful was that?
It was so beautiful and an amazing place to grow up.
Yeah.
But, a lot of places like that tend to be, like really fancy. It was not. It was really blue collar.
Right.
And so growing up around there, it was usually like, people were mostly either listening to rock or they're listening to country, which is pretty, I think for us to kind of have the blend of both, I think makes total sense.
Yeah.
And then both of our parents really tried their hand in music. Our dad sang and wrote songs, and so did our mom. But then they had 5 kids and very little money. Our mom's a hairdresser, her dad's a plumber, and
so you guys are 2 of 5.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, that didn't even come up on Google. Yeah. So, where are the other 3 at?
So our oldest brother Jimbo's lives in Delaware.
Jimbo. We love Jimbo.
Yeah, exactly. It's one step down from Jim Bob, but we got Jimbo, and then we got Rachel. She's in Florida, and then our sister Natalie works here in Nashville. She's in the music business as well. I think you may or may not have met her. But
are they super supportive of you guys being in the music industry?
Oh, extremely so. And so, but I think for us, it was really kind of started as like our parents' dream. We just kind of grew up around music all the time. We didn't really know any different. And then just kind of playing local bars and stuff. In fact, this tattoo, a lot of people want to know what it's about. It's the first band that me and John and our dad was in, called Deuce and a Quarter, after our car.
That's a great name.
I know it is.
That's
right?
actually a really good name.
Fun, yeah. And so we did that, and then slowly but surely we're like, okay, we need either do this full time or not. And we were definitely like, at that time, a big fish in a small pond, and then so we came here, kind of did the opposite. But that was our upbringing. Yeah.
Starting your own business or podcast sounds glamorous until you're suddenly the host, editor, marketer, accountant, and social media manager all at once. It's intimidating, and honestly, it can get really lonely when you're figuring it out as you go. When we launched the Dumb Blonde podcast, we had no clue how many hats we'd have to wear. We were learning everything on the fly and wishing we had someone or something to help us build the business side without the burnout. That's where Shopify comes in. It's like having a business partner who actually knows what they're doing. Whether you're selling merch, courses, or anything in between, Shopify makes it simple, seamless, and totally doable, even for a dumb blonde like me. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. When I launched BunnieXo.com, I had the vision, the passion, and the products. But figuring out how to actually run the business, that was a whole new world. From building a website to managing orders and connecting with customers, it was a lot. That's where Shopify came in and completely changed the game. It's like having a built-in business partner that handles the hard stuff, so I can focus on creating and growing. Get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into cha-ching with your Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/bunnie, B-U-N-N-I-E. Go to shopify.com/bunnie. Shopify.com/bunnie. So I had read somewhere that you guys had started off on like separate journeys, like separate bands, or have you guys always done?
Yeah. So, I mean, we
duo?
played a lot as kids and we're always playing in bands together, playing with our dad. And then I moved here in 2000 to go to college, met a bunch of different musicians, and I ended up in a separate band with some other great musicians that were friends of mine. Charlie Worsham, I don't know if you ever done anything with Charlie, or I'm sure Jelly might know Charlie.
I think he does.
Yeah, but a great session musician in town, this guy Josh Matheny, who plays dobro, and a bunch of other really great musicians. And we had a band, it was called King Billy. It didn't really kind of pan out the way we wanted, but it was a great learning experience. Traveled all over the country in a van. Way too many hours sleeping on a bench seat in a van, but it was totally worth it. In your early 20s, you can get away with that.
Yeah.
And he was writing for the same publishing company at the same time, so he was still in town. We had written a few songs together for the band, and when that band broke up, he was doing his own project, so we were joining forces, writing a lot together, playing shows, and people kept going, "Man, it's so cool that you and TJ are finally in a band." And we're like, "Well, no, we're not doing a band. We're just writing together, and I'm playing guitar for him." People kept showing up, and it just started to gain a lot of interest, and it was not our intention at all. Everyone's like, "Yeah, let's go. Oh, the Brothers are playing tonight," and eventually we had to just go, "Is this like official?" I guess.
Then what we had to do was go, okay, our mom was right.
Yeah,
she
our
wanted this
mom
the whole time.
all along.
Mom knows best.
She didn't want it the whole time. We were like, no, Mom,
The
we know
second
what we're
TJ
doing.
popped out, she was like, "Finally, I got a duo." And Natalie popped out. She was like, "I got a trio." So she's still waiting on that one. And yeah, and then everything kind of took off after that. It just seemed like we followed the natural course of things. It was like the universe was almost like, it was like divine. Something was making it happen.
Right.
And then we listened to it, and then the rest was history.
I love that. So have you guys always had a super close relationship even growing up?
Yeah, we have. I mean, about as close to like twins as you would get without actually being twins. We just did everything together.
What's the age difference?
About a little over 2 years. But we slept in bunk beds our whole lives, shared a bedroom together, and
Still do on the bus.
And now we joke because we've grown up and have live in separate houses, but we sleep half the year with each other on a bus and bunk beds again. So we haven't gotten that far.
Where does the rock influence come from? Because you guys, for being country, you guys have a pretty rocker sound.
I think it's just
also
a lot to do with where we grew up. Like I grew up listening, because guitar became my favorite thing in the world when I was like 12.
Who taught you the guitar?
Our dad taught me some chords. My cousin Johnny taught me how to solo, or my Uncle Bill taught me a little bit. It was a bit of everyone. They wouldn't let me sit down with the family and sit around the table unless I would practice, and I was good enough to hold my own. So if you want to get me to do anything, just tell me that I can't, and I won't fucking do it. So I would just sat in the other room practicing.
You can't paint my house.
yeah. Damn it. And I do a lot of things out of spite mostly. But anyway, so I did that, but I was obsessed with like guitar and rock music is just like go hand in hand. And we grew up listening to country. I rebelled against that a bit because it was like what our whole family listened to. And my early teenage years, I was like, love Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots. Like
that was an iconic time.
Such a
God,
hero.
yeah.
My first concert was Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh my God,
Amazing.
I love Stone
I don't
Temple
think
Pilots.
there hasn't really been anything quite like it since.
Ever.
It was
And
just a complete change.
why do you think that is, that we can't recapture that sound?
Because
Now you have to be on TikTok to be famous.
Facts.
Well, I also think too, because back then there was a lot of counterculture going on. Like the 80s produced obviously some great pop rock music that we all know and love. But there was this counter revolution to that where it became these bands out of like California all the way, which is where STP is from, all the way up to like where Pearl Jam and Nirvana, all the way up on the far West Coast. And they wanted to be the anti that. So it became less about the spandex and the big loud pop songs, and it became about like the grit and the grunge. And I feel like things have kind of become so, for lack of a better word, a lot more pop in the rock world.
Yes.
And it never has really cured itself again of that to get back to where it once was. But it was a really pure era. I mean, every band was so
you
unique.
definitely see that happen a little in country music now for sure.
You see
where
it now in country more than ever.
things got super, super polished and slick, and now people are really appreciating things that are raw and real. And like your husband, for instance, someone that is just themselves.
Yeah,
and,
unique. It's like being unique should be rewarded.
Yes,
And it finally
absolutely.
is. I think in country music, everyone's wanting each artist to be really special in themselves, and I think that's great. That's when music's at its healthiest.
I feel like you guys are kind of the trailblazers for being unique because
Like maybe, yeah, I don't know.
I definitely feel like that because you guys came in on the scene and you guys were just. So you guys came in on the scene and you guys were like pretty like rock country and like you guys were still finding your sound. Did you feel like whenever you guys came on the scene that you guys had to kind of tone it down a little bit whenever you came into country?
No, I mean it's weird. I mean, I guess if you were to circle all the way back to just like again being from Maryland, I feel like we just always have kind of been in this space of like Maryland. It's not really the North. It's not really the South. Like it's just what is it? No one seems to really claim it. And so, I feel like it was kind of that way with us musically. I mean, we grew up there. I didn't really honestly know what genres were for a really long time in my life. I just knew the music I liked and I didn't like. And predominantly what I was influenced by and what inspired me was country music and rock, like particularly classic stuff. And so, as we came down here, we just started doing our own thing. But I felt like for the longest time, like I, was getting hired in town before we a bit as a demo singer, and then people stopped hiring me because they're like, "Oh, you don't sound like anybody else. Like we're trying to pitch this song to Blake Shelton, and you don't sound like him." So, and then I was really irritated with myself. Honestly, I felt like, God, I don't have the chops to be able to make money as a demo singer to pitch songs to people. And then it's something at some point in time kind of flipped in me, and I realized like, well, I'm just going to start singing my own music. And then it started, there was like a moment even still, once we had a record deal and we're out working our music out at radio, there was a lot of times because we sounded unfamiliar, our songs wouldn't test. And so then again, we were kind of in the same boat of like, well, we like you guys, but we didn't sound like all the people that were hitting really hard and familiar, like Luke Bryan's and all these people. And so, but again, it was like, do we want to follow kind of what everyone's doing and already winning with? So our manager, was like, it's like the best, if you're not first, the best you can be is second. And so we really were like, we just really focused on what it is we're doing. And I think, I've been thinking a lot about this recently because there's like so much like turmoil in like what country music is. That's not country, this is country, or that's cool, this isn't cool. And it's annoying to me for the main reason of,
Hey guys, if you want to hear the uncensored version of this, head over to our Patreon at dumbblondeunrated.com, where we have all the fun, all the unedited stuff, all the explicit stuff. Come on over. Goodbye.